Yes, of course. I should be doing all the good newsy things.
So it's one of those hello mum people.
20 seconds. 2 shots before the titles. 5 seconds.
This is 6 o'clock live.
In the next hour, we've news, weather, sporting stars, rock stars and up-and-coming radio stars.
All on 6 o'clock live. The only way to start your weekend. Welcome to 6 o'clock live. Well, first tonight, they were once described as the backbone of Britain, but now they're fighting for their survival. We'll be looking at why our small businesses are simply going bust.
A new report says 900 firms are closing every week. That's one every 11 minutes.
And one of the 900 this week was restaurateur Piero Sardano from Wandsworth. He reckons he did all the right things, but thanks to the recession, he'll now have to sell up, leaving him with big debts.
I've lost, the best part of £90,000, and I haven't got any money left, so I'm literally homeless and penniless.
On a brighter note, though, tonight, with the help of DJ Pat Sharp, we'll be tuning into the Essex School, where everyone has become a radio star.
And talking of stars, we've a big name lined up for you this evening. Danny's gone down to Wembley Way to meet him.
What they've done to Wembley, Frank. The reason is, in 24 hours' time, this place will be heaving with 70,000 plus rock fans here for the big event of the summer. Roachford, Jellyfish, Deborah Harry, Hothouse Flowers, but top of the bill, main event, the return of In Excess, the Australian rock heroes, complete with lead singer Michael Hutchins. And those of you who don't know, Michael Hutchins had a notorious affair with Kylie Minogue, which no one around here is allowed to mention unless you get chucked out. Nevertheless, in half an hour's time, I will have Michael and Tim Farriss from the band in an exclusive interview backstage. Join me, about half an hour's time.
He sounds in quite good form. That interview with Michael Hutchins coming up later, when we'll also be talking to Britain's athletic stars live from Crystal Palace and giving away these tickets here that I have in front of my eyes for the best seats in the house for the big American football game at Wembley, the American Bowl. And that's after tonight's news from around the southeast and the weekend weather prospects with Ken Andrews. Hello, Ken.
Hello, Frank. Hello, good evening. Security at London's embassies is once again under the spotlight tonight following the storming of the Turkish embassy. David Harvey has the details.
Guns were trained on the embassy in Belgrave Square for an hour and a half. Inside were 53 Kurds, angry at the killing of fellow countrymen in Kurdistan by Turkish forces.
They appeared en masse. My officer is not posted outside that embassy particularly. He was on a patrol in Belgrave Square. He was warned, I think, by a passing cab driver that a load of demonstrators were making their way towards the Turkish embassy. When he got there, they were trying to get in, so he prevented some, but not all, I'm afraid.
The ambassador managed to escape, but 15 embassy staff were trapped on the 3rd floor. As the demonstrators stormed the building, passing motorists fled from their cars, thinking that they'd heard gunfire.
People even walking down the road, they just start running away as well when we heard the shooting.
But no one was hurt in the incident, and no evidence of any shooting was found after the demonstrators gave themselves up, having ransacked the building. The capital's large Kurdish community in Stoke Newington was quick to applaud the action of the demonstrators and condemn the actions of the Turkish army.
They don't discriminate without discrimination. They just, kill children, kill women, kill men.
The protesters, including a girl of 13, were taken away to Rochester Road Police Station for questioning. David Harvey, LWT News, Belgrave Square.
A 29-year-old West London man left severely brain damaged after a car crash will get a record £15 million compensation if he lives until he's 80. Raymond Everett from Hanwell will never work again. He's looked after entirely by his family. The High Court heard today that Mr Everett was a front-seat passenger in a car which crashed into a lamppost in Walton-on-Thames in 1985. His father sued the driver. Under a special settlement, Raymond will get an income for life from investments.
What would you hope in this circumstances for him to lead a normal life? But we just know that that's not possible. We just hope that everything will go well for him. you know, when we're gone, there will be somebody there to care for him.
Mr. Charles Everett, whose family were praised in court today for their devotion to their son. RSPCA officials said today they're on their way to cracking a vicious sport they never thought would take off in London, cockfighting. Mark Jordan sends this report from Neasden.
Vicious, brutal and often to the death. Cockfighting is ancient sport in some rural areas. No one thought it went on in London. But a 3-month undercover operation ended today with a mutilated cockerel making a court appearance in Brent. Police and RSPCA investigators discovered this bird after a raid involving 25 policemen.
The animals are modified for cockfighting by the removal of the comb and the wattle. The comb is the red bit on top of the head and the wattle is the bit underneath the jaw.
So these bits would actually be cut off so that they could fight?
Yes, basically they flap around and they'd be removed with a sharp blade, possibly a Stanley knife or a surgical blade, and then cauterized, which is burned to stop the bleeding.
The bird was actually found on this caravan site. It was bleeding, badly injured and covered in oil. Magistrates today issued a warrant for the arrest of the owner. He's now thought to have fled to Ireland. Although the court agreed that unnecessary suffering had occurred, there still wasn't enough proof to shut down a London ring.
Naturally, as with any fight, it takes place between two parties, so we've only found one party today, so there must be another one somewhere else.
Nicknamed Zedric, he's now off to retire on a farm, mutilated but alive. Mark Jordan, LWT News, Neasden.
The mother of a 2-year-old girl kidnapped from her North London home made an emotional appeal this afternoon for her daughter's return. Vida Fenton was allegedly snatched by her father and a woman posing as a police officer a week ago. Her mother, Melissa, was left tied up in the bedroom.
I just want to know, I just need to know that she's happy and that she's playing and that she's okay. Bernie, if you can hear me, please, please. No drama, no sympathy, no, just need to know that she's okay, that you're okay, that just contact somebody.
Meanwhile, a woman has appeared in court today accused of abducting 2-year-old Vida. 27-year-old Karen Council is also accused of impersonating a police officer and falsely imprisoning Melissa Fenton. She was remanded in custody by Highbury Corner magistrates. Final preparations are underway this weekend for the start of the Group of 7 summit being held in London. The meeting's a huge boost for the capital, but there could be problems too. Stuart Maister is in Trafalgar Square. Stuart.
Ken, the thousands of tourists here will be joined over the next few days by thousands more special tourists from the 7 most economically powerful countries on earth. And with the eyes of the world on London, those in authority want the capital to look at its best. They're doing their bit to dress up London. They want Londoners to be on their best behaviour too, dropping less litter and so on. And they want others to do their bit as well. The scourge of London, roadworks, but not for the summiters. Westminster Council have asked all those doing the digging to be finished by Monday, all part of the big tidy-up.
What we're trying to do here is trying to clean it up for a few days, ask developers, ask the statutory undertakers, the Gas Board, Electricity Board, to just clean out their act for a few days, accepting they have a job to do, but seeing if we can make sure that Westminster for these few days can actually be spick and span.
Fewer roadworks, you might think that'll help ease the traffic congestion. It's unlikely. There'll be 200 official motorcades during the summit. Streets won't be closed off, but the motorcades will disrupt the traffic if they can get through it.
So extra problems for Londoners, Stuart. When does it all happen?
The summit starts on Monday. The Japanese delegates arrive tonight. President Gorbachev arrives Tuesday night. It's a huge event. There will be quite a bit of congestion, but it might be a boom for the tourist industry too. Ken.
Stuart, thank you very much. Squatters have taken over the former home of Dame Peggy Ashcroft. But they say the late actress, who lived for more than 40 years in the house, would have approved of their actions.
They make an unusual alliance, the conservationists and the squatters, both fighting in their own way to preserve a unique part of Hampstead. Dame Peggy Ashcroft, who died last month, lived in Manor Lodge for 43 years before selling it 2 years ago. Her wish was that the house with its magnificent garden should be kept intact, but since then it's remained empty and has been ransacked. Now its owners, who live next door, want to knock down part of the house for an extension into the garden. Camden Council is expected to give planning permission. much to the anger of local conservationists.
We would be very happy to see it restored and brought back into use. It's been standing empty far too long, but we don't think that building in the garden in this way is really the answer to the problem.
Squatters moved in 10 days ago. They say they too want to preserve the building, but today they received a court summons that's likely to lead to an eviction notice. We tried to speak to the owners, but they declined to be interviewed. This lady said the house was owned by her husband's sister, who lives in Brazil. She was speaking through gates, which Camden Council say must be taken down because they don't have planning permission. Thames Water is to spend £810 million modernising its ageing sewerage system. But they broke with the tradition of smart press launchers and made today's announcement underground. Lindsay Charlton was there.
Thames Water called it a return to the street of shame, a close-up of Fleet Street's underside. The sewers, which gave a new slant to the phrase gutter press. As the product of 1 million liquid lunches sluiced towards Beckton Sewage Works, the Water Authority was announcing a massive investment in the 120-year-old system.
On the sewerage system, we're spending about 810 million, which includes the sewage treatment works upgrading as well as new sewers and repairs to the existing sewers.
What sort of condition are they in for something that's 100 years old?
They're in excellent condition. I believe these sewers will still be here in this condition in another 100 years.
Today there's not a rat in sight, but then they've spent £1.5 million wiping them out. A far cry from early Victorian times when the Thames was London's sewer, and the stench was so bad, Parliament was forced to adjourn without passing a motion.
Well, today the smell down here isn't that great, but at least now it's well beneath our feet rather than right under our noses. Lindsay Charlton, LWT News, trying to find his way back to the South Bank.
Lindsay Charlton plunging the depths to bring you that story. And the weather now, well, the scorching temperatures of yesterday are not going to be repeated over the weekend. This evening will be cloudy with rain gradually spreading across the region. A mild night down to 14 Celsius, 57 Fahrenheit. And a not very promising start to Saturday. The one-day cricket final at Lord's may not get underway on time. The day will start overcast and rainy, and it will begin to clear by lunchtime. The afternoon should be brighter, but the rain will return from the west to cover the whole region by the evening. The high 21 degrees Celsius, 70 degrees Fahrenheit. By Sunday, the rain will have cleared, leaving a dry day with sunny periods and a light wind. That's our news for the moment. Frank, will that spoil your weekend?
Oh, it will. I only wanted a few hours for the cricket tomorrow. Just a few hours. You've done me no favours at all. I'm going to Lord's. It was the in thing to do not so very long ago. Start your own business, they said. Work for yourself.
The banks encouraged it. The government were in favour of it. No wonder small businesses were described then as the backbone of Britain.
But it seems that's all changed. This week, a new report says 900 such firms are going bust every week. That's one every 11 minutes, and nowhere's worse hit than the southeast.
But what if you're one of those statistics? That's what happened to restaurateur Piero Sardano from Wandsworth. Yesterday, as he finally signed the documents that'll mean his closing down, I went to meet him.
It was very much a dream come true to actually be here at last in my own place. Now, unfortunately, it's turned sour.
Piero Sardano opened Le Vagabond restaurant last August. Less than a year on, he faces financial ruin and has been forced to sell up. When it started, he was sure it would be a success.
I've got over 10 years' experience in the business. I've managed some of the top restaurants in London. I've got a catering degree in catering management, so I knew what I was doing on that side.
And business did boom in the first months. He got glowing reviews and built up a large number of regular customers. But last autumn, things started to go wrong.
As we got further into the latter side of last year, the economy got worse. People started feeling the pinch of the high interest rates. People started going out less. And as it got closer to Christmas, it just got worse and worse.
As the recession deepened, Piero's business started to fail, and his worst fear began to come true.
Some nights we'll be sat here with two or four customers in the restaurant.
Piero has worked night and day, trying everything he can to save his business.
I'm here 24 hours a day. If I'm not working in the restaurant, I'm generally in the office doing the bookkeeping or the paperwork.
And it's not just time Piero's had to sacrifice. He hasn't drawn a salary since the business opened. He sold his motorbike, his car, even his flat to keep it afloat.
Since then, I've had to sell other assets and cash in endowment policies, savings policies, pension policies, everything literally to keep the business going.
So everything's gone?
Literally everything, yes.
Sadly, despite Piero's dedication, business didn't pick up, and his bank finally forced him to make the heartbreaking decision to close down.
If I went on in such a situation and refused to cooperate with them by selling, they would foreclose on me and eventually sell the business themselves and make me bankrupt, which would mean I wouldn't be able to set up another business or even buy a house in the future.
Piero had to put the business up for sale. This week he exchanged contracts with the new owners, marking the beginning of the end of his business.
It's all your own work, it's your own creation, and it's very sad to have to part with it and to actually admit that it hasn't been a success.
On top of this, Piero now faces the painful task of making his staff redundant. How do they feel?
I feel pretty sick, actually. Piero's worked really hard for this place, done everything right as far as I'm concerned. But that's the way things are at the moment with the recession going on.
That's a sentiment shared by his loyal customers, enjoying their last meals at their favourite restaurant.
We love it. I mean, we've been here loads of times. The food's very good, the ambience is always very good, and it's very reasonably priced.
He's worked very hard, and I feel very sorry for him.
Will you miss it?
Yes, I will. Very much.
Despite having all the right ingredients, Piero is going bust. Was it his fault? Who does he blame?
On the whole, it's got to be the government because, I mean, they're the ones at the end of the day that have been controlling the interest rates, and they are, okay, they've brought interest rates down, but it's a bit of a cliche, but too little, too late is very much the case.
So when Piero closes the restaurant door for the very last time, what will he be left with?
I've lost, the best part of £90,000, and I haven't got any money left, so I'm literally homeless and penniless. It is very much a personal tragedy for me, but at the same time, life goes on, and I've got to look to the future, and hopefully my luck will be better next time round.
Really tragic story, isn't it? But what amazes me about him is he's so philosophical. He's lost everything. He's walking out of there with a suitcase, that's it.
And he's got a simple smile on his face. Is there anything he can do now? What is he going to do?
Well, he's going to go and stay with friends. He wants to go on holiday, but of course he can't afford that. But he's not going into the restaurant business
OK,
again.
well, let's ask a few questions. With me now is Stephen Alambritis from the National Federation of the Self-Employed. That gentleman is not unique, is he? I mean, it's an absolute shambles. What do you make of it? Have the sort of failure rates ever been higher?
No, these are the highest failure rates since the Second World War. In London alone, in the first 6 months of this year, over 8,000 businesses have failed.
Now, how do you reflect on the fact that here's a government which encouraged people to start small businesses, which they did in their thousands, a government which has also created a situation, a financial situation, in which they're going bust? How do you reflect on that?
A deep sense of betrayal by a lot of small businesses today. They were encouraged, they were given money left, right and centre, and they've now been badly let down by the government.
But on the other hand, the interest rate came down today by another 0.5%. That's 4% in the last few months. So surely things are getting very much better. They must be. What you want is the interest rate coming down, and it's coming down.
It's not enough. As Pierre said, it's too little, too late. It's certainly too late for the businesses that have gone under. What's needed is a bold move of cutting interest rates by a full 2%.
The other extraordinary thing is that, amazingly, 800 optimists a week are still starting up in business. What's going to happen to them?
They will just tinker along, I believe. Over 1 million small businesses turn over less than £10,000 a year. There are more small businesses, but they're not doing too well.
But perhaps it's because they're inefficient.
No. The two causes of business failures, either the business is inefficient or the government has handled the economy badly. And because small businesses are doing a good and they're going under, it points to the government.
Is there any advice you can give small businesses? What should they do?
They should just hold tight, check on all expenses, and certainly challenge the bank when they try to hike interest rates or load on charges or arrangement fees.
Can I ask you about the confusion which exists, because people say this is a kind of recession which is W-shaped. In other words, it's going up and down all the time. Some people say it's going to get better, and other people say it is getting better. Other people say it's not going to get better for a long time. What's your reading of the situation?
It's going to get worse. The government say that the second half of this year will be better, but we don't see any light at the end of the tunnel, and there won't be any improvement until well into 1992, and then there's the problem of Europe coming on.
And is the interest rates the only problem that's causing the difficulty?
No, high rents, business rates, late payment of bills. Small businesses are the unpaid tax collectors of this nation, and they get nothing for paying up on time, but swinging penalties for being slightly late.
So all these things have conspired against you at exactly the wrong time?
Certainly.
But you'll come out of it, won't you?
Keep going is what we say to small businesses.
Thank you very much indeed. Well, we take a break there, shall we? But still to come on tonight's 6 o'clock live, not only that exclusive interview with rock star Michael Hutchence, but also all aboard for a trip down the Thames as Edward Heath celebrates his 75th birthday.
DJ Pat Sharp rock and rolls his way to a school where everyone's a radio star.
And how Phil from Wokingham is kicking his way to $1 million gridiron contract. Plus Britain's athletes, athletic stars, a real sporting lineup in a couple of minutes.
Blink, 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 blink.
Hello again. Well, still to come on tonight's 6 o'clock live, something for everybody. We've our top athletic stars live from Crystal Palace.
Pat Sharp and the youngest DJs in town.
And rock star Michael Hutchence from Wembley.
But this week marked a milestone in the life of one of the South East's elder statesmen, and more than 200 of his friends and colleagues turned out to celebrate the occasion.
Well, he's a musician, a yachtsman, a former Prime Minister, and he's represented the people of Old Bexley and Sidcup in Kent for 41 years. On his guest list, the likes of Michael Heseltine, Sir Robin Day, Richard Branson and many, many others. And he also sent an invitation to 6 o'clock live. Hundreds of balloons, lots of bubbly. No expense has been spared for tonight's special party on board the Silver Barracuda on the River Thames. There's rather a magnificent cake, too.
The press waited eagerly on Westminster Pier for the celebrities to arrive. I caught up with an old friend of 6 o'clock live.
Are you well?
Well, nice to
Looking forward to the party?
Yes, thoroughly.
Good. And he wasn't the only one.
And a very distinguished gathering here tonight to pay tribute to a man whose career has spanned 41 years of British politics. Miss Sheldon, you look absolutely stunning.
Well, you don't look so bad yourself, Frank.
Thank you. Now, I've got the presents, and I've got the invitation. You've got the...
Flowers, card.
Let's go aboard. And with 6 o'clock live, safely aboard, we were off. Passing the Guest of Honour's office on the way, I talked to Mr. Heath about actually being 75. Was he feeling his age?
I find it very difficult to realise I'm 75. Doesn't seem to be any different from 74 and 364 days, you know.
The faculties are holding together well,
Oh, yes. I think it's a great mistake for people to retire early, and particularly as so many of them don't have any other interests. And what can they do except idle about at home, and they make their wives fed up.
And because it's a birthday, there's a speech from old chum Lord Whitelaw.
Just how much we know he has done during a remarkable career for our country, and how much we admire what he has. Ted, we wish you the very best of luck and many happy returns.
And no birthday party is complete without a cake, a replica of Heath's Salisbury home. Edward Heath seems to have had no doubts where he was heading from birth. Born the son of a carpenter in Broadstairs, Kent, he won a scholarship to the local grammar school and another to Balliol College, Oxford, before finally deciding to join the army. Was he destined for great things, do you think, even at school?
Well, he was destined, obviously, to do something which was not in the ordinary run of things, you know?
What was his character like? How would you describe him as a boy at school?
Pretty forceful. I did ask him in the interview what he was hoping he might do after the war, and he said he hoped he'd go into politics. And it was pretty obvious to us that he could be Prime Minister.
And it was the people of Bexley who helped him achieve that ambition in 1970.
He's actually very good as a constituent MP. The trouble is, when he comes down, he tries to cram in so much work. We actually have a job to keep up with him. Yes, I do. He tends to be a bit fitter than I am.
But the party wasn't just filled with politicos. Ted Heath's love of sailing was reflected in his guest list.
All the crew of Morning Cloud, we all thought we were much better than him. But the awful thing was, when he was on board, we always tended to win, and when he wasn't, we tended not to. And when he was there, he got the best out of us. And that's why we sailed with him for so long.
And as the night wore on, the party got into full swing. However his fellow revellers have come into contact with him, they all have strong opinions about Heath's character, most of them positive.
I've had many television encounters with Ted Heath, rather more than I can remember, and probably more than he would like to remember.
Did you win most of them?
No, well, oh, you don't talk about winning or losing.
I've known him 53 out of these 75 years. Although occasionally we've had rather fluctuating relationships, but much more friendly than unfriendly.
And as we travelled back to Westminster, we gave Mr. Heath a few tributes of our own. Now then, in this is the libretto from the Curlew River, and it's signed by Benjamin Britten, who wrote the music.
Well, that's very, very interesting, and very important and very valuable. I'm most grateful to you.
And that's a compact disc with the music on it.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. You are kind, very kind.
And I can tell you, they had a very, very good time, didn't they?
I think you could say that, Frank.
Yes, indeed. We've already had the thank you letter for the present. Well, now then, it's a sad fact of life nowadays. Fewer school children are turning up for class than ever before.
Nowhere more so than at one secondary school in Havering in Essex. But surely there must be a reason for this non-attendance.
Well, there is actually. And here's a clue. We asked Capital FM DJ Pat Sharp to find out for us.
Claire James.
Yes, ma'am.
Daniel Jones.
Yes, ma'am.
Nairi Jordan.
Yes, ma'am.
Francesca Knox.
Yes, ma'am.
Patrick McDermott. Has anybody seen Patrick? No? Lucy Mulrooney. Has anybody seen these two? No. No?
I've come to St Edward's School in Romford on a special assignment.
A growing number of children have been actually missing from lessons, and I'm here to investigate. Why me, you ask? Take a listen to this. Well, apparently, the missing kids have been hiding out in here. Now, they're not skiving. They're actually getting some real-life work experience running their own radio station.
All right, we're broadcasting on 1512 kilohertz, and this is Steady PM with you till 4:30.
Radio Steady AM has got a 3-day licence from the Home Office to broadcast news, views and music to the local area this week. Now, it's been thought up, set up and run entirely by children here at the school. DJ Stephanie Knowles is just 12.
Well, we bought some equipment with the headmaster's money.
Oh, nice.
And we got sponsorship for it so that we could pay him back. We also had auditions to find out who would be the presenters, and there were lots of people left over, and they made up the marketing teams.
Have your lessons suffered at all?
No, I'm still getting good results in all my lessons. I got good results in my exams, even though I was doing work for the radio station.
This may all look like just a fun way to dodge lessons, but as far as senior teacher Sian Carr is concerned, it's all good educational experience.
I definitely think it's educational. Of course, I hope it's been a lot of fun for them as well. They've learned all sorts of different skills. They've been going around trying to find advertising, they've been marketing, they've learning how to run a business, they've got a bank account, they've been presenting, and they've been sort of working out programme schedules, technicians, engineers, all sorts of different things. Busy.
And every hour on the hour, the news team provides that all-important, up-to-the-minute news bulletin.
Good afternoon, this is Michelle Garner with the Steady AM News. Good afternoon.
After the news, it's Housewife's Choice, Patrick McDermott.
Guys, we're suffering a few technical issues, but we have to be back with you as soon as possible. A lot of easy listening. We've got some interviews, we've got concert information, we've got gossip, movie review. Like today we're reviewing Naked Gun 2.5, tomorrow The Pope Must Die, and on Thursday, Too Hot to Handle.
So it's a nice sort of lazy afternoon sort of mix, yeah?
Okay, that was Pat and Mick. I haven't stopped dancing yet. We've got the real thing down here. It's Pat Sharpie's...
What's this? A bit of a scoop for Steady AM, a major celeb interview.
What do you think of our setup here?
Well, I must be honest, I've had a look around. I think, obviously, for the amount of money you've had to put something together like this, it's pretty good, you know. It must have been very hard to get electronic geniuses to wire it all together and then to get the voices behind the scenes for you to go on air and all the different people who put the different things together. It's excellent.
But I soon learned, you give these young pros an inch and they'll take a mile.
So, Pat, is there anything in the rumours that you're being replaced with a younger man?
No, he's not. Thank you, Pat Sharp, very much indeed. You know, everybody's always knocking the younger generation. In this programme, we're constantly finding that they do useful and imaginative things.
The one in charge there in that piece was only 12 as well.
Frightening.
Sickening.
Quite frightening. Now, up till last Christmas, Phil Alexander was a soccer player, playing for lowly Wokingham FC in the Vauxhall Conference. But then he was discovered by the London Monarchs American football team.
As it turned out, not only did the Monarchs win the World Bowl, but Phil became the top kicker in the World League.
But the fairy tale story doesn't end there. This week, Phil flew out to Texas for a tryout with the mighty Houston Oilers. A contract with them could make him a dollar millionaire by this time next year. And Phil's arrival was the top story on the local Houston television sports programme this week.
The Oilers appear to be interested in looking for insurance in the place-kicking department after Teddy Garcia's horrendous performance in the WLAF earlier this summer. While Garcia was being cut by the San Antonio Riders for his poor kicking, this guy, Phil Alexander, who tried out for the Oilers today, was making the all-world team while playing for the London Monarchs. And one thing's for sure, his physical status is certainly impressive. Compared to most kickers, the former pro soccer player from London stands 6'2", weighs 216 pounds.
He's a big kid for a kicker, as you can see. He's well-built, strong-legged, and has had very, very little coaching. So I think, you know, in a situation where he can get coached every day and get looked at every day and filmed every day, he should do nothing but get better.
Well, compliments indeed, but have the Oilers put their megabucks where their mouth is and offered Phil a contract? Well, I spoke to the man himself from his hotel in Texas a little earlier on this evening. Phil, what's the news? Has the offer been made?
Not exactly at the moment, Frank. They've very impressed. Everything's gone very well, and with a bit of luck, I'll be in camp within the next 3 to 4 weeks.
What's the hold-up?
Well, they're actually just making some adjustments within the squad.
That's the size of the squad to accommodate you?
Exactly, yes.
Now then, people are talking here of you becoming a dollar millionaire in the next 12 months. Is there any truth in that?
Well, if things go well with salaries and bonuses and product endorsements, that type of thing, then that's a real possibility, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You expect that to happen?
I'd hope it to happen, yes.
Now then, this is just for kicking the ball. You don't actually play in the match at all, do you?
Well, I do actually play it. I mean, the role is quite unique in that you don't actually physically do that much. You go on and kick it, but mentally it's quite taxing. If you can imagine, if you've got to go out and kick a ball and you've got to make it, and you're in front of 50, 60,000 people, and there's a lot of money riding on it.
Yeah. Now then, I tell you what, it's a far cry from Wokingham FC, isn't it? What would you be doing with them at this time of the season?
Well, at the moment it's pre-season training time, and I know there's a few of them, and now I go to extraordinary lengths not to do it.
Even go to America and signing for the Houston Oilers.
That's right.
Now, if that falls through, I gather you've got another team, the Philadelphia Eagles, on your back as well. So it's all good news all round.
Yeah, that's right. I've only just found that out, and that's nice. It's another nice string to your bow.
Lovely. Well, we wish you well, and we hope the gravy comes home, and keep us in touch.
Thank you.
OK, bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Well, he sounded a very nice chap indeed. I've not met him. I only spoke to him on the telephone late this afternoon. But you have met him, haven't you?
Yeah,
What's he like?
really nice guy. Very nice. In fact, I did ask him about whether he thought he'd make it in the big time, you know, in the American leagues, and he was pretty sort of modest and self-effacing. Thought a lot of competition.
Yeah,
and
he's
he
a
didn't
big,
think
beefy
so.
guy, isn't he?
Yeah, very big and wide.
Yes. Well, his mother will be watching this little interview tonight, and she must be very proud of him indeed.
Well, to celebrate Phil's success, tonight we're giving away 2 top tickets for the American Bowl to be played at Wembley on Sunday, July the 28th. All you have to do is tell us the names of the 2 teams taking part. If you think you know the answer, ring this number now, 071 261 3995. And to make it fair to those living outside the 071 area, we'll take the first correct answer after we've received 10 calls.
So, very good luck with that. Well, we'll take a break there, shall we? But still to come on tonight's 6 o'clock live. Lots of ideas if you fancy getting out and about over the weekend. But also, we make music with the parents who sing songs to their unborn children.
We'll be going live to Crystal Palace to talk to some of the stars of British athletics.
And it's Kylie's ex, the rock superstar from Down Under, Michael Hutchins of In Excess, plus the summer's best films in just a couple of minutes. Yes. Hello, Jim Rosenthal. Can you hear me? It's Frank here.
Yes, I can hear you fine, Frank. How are you?
Well?
I'm very well. I'm sorry I couldn't get on the phone to you earlier.
That's all right.
But it's all loud and clear. Don't be fooled by the old empty spaces, by the way, there.
What? I know. Well, I should say, I know it's a very good meet, but what a staggering attendance if you just reflect on that.
Yes, fine.
A highlight or two?
Yeah.
Any records going?
Yeah.
And then you're going to do...
And then after that one, I'll just launch it. After you've asked me the second one, Frank, I'll just talk to Chris Akabusi.
OK,
yeah?
you bring him in when you want to.
OK. Lovely.
And then just hand back to me
and
again.
at the end, are you going to say it's on at 8 o'clock, or do you want
Yes, we're doing that.
You'll do that.
We're trading
okay.
the start of the coverage.
I'll just chuck it back to you then.
OK.
Lovely, Frank. Look forward to it.
Chris is coming down now.
Hello again, and welcome back to the final part of 6 o'clock Live. Now, before we go any further, you can stop ringing in now, please, to our World Bowl competition.
Yes, we now have a winner for the 2 tickets for the event at Wembley on July the 28th. Remember, we asked you to call and tell us the names of the 2 teams taking part. The answer is the Philadelphia Eagles and the Buffalo Bills.
And our lucky winner is Mark Tegadine from Westcliff-on-Sea. Many, many congratulations. Now then, this famous magazine here is The Lancet. It's the trade paper of the medical profession, and not so very long ago it carried a piece about unborn babies and the effect the theme tunes to our favourite soap operas have on them.
It's that sort of Coronation Street and all that.
Yeah, and
Neighbours. I've recognised it.
You did. Now, the question is, why were Britain's doctors so interested in soap opera melodies? Well, it seems many pregnant mothers sit down every day to relax and watch the goings-on in places like Ramsay Street, and Coronation Street. So their unborn babies in the womb associate the theme tune with calm and with rest.
The result, once the babies are born, the sound of the theme tunes put them into a trance-like state. I kid you not. But now one young couple in Barnes have gone one step further, as Danny's been discovering.
Wow, what's that racket? What's a kid got to do to get some sleep round here? Hey, this is more like it. Hang loose. Chill out, Mum. Strange things are happening in Barnes. Parents are going to evening classes to learn how to sing to their unborn babies. Seriously. It's been written about in The Lancet, and doctors the world over recognise it's early learning of the very best kind. Bring back my Mums have discovered their babies will react to them singing My Bonnie Lies Over the Ocean, Old MacDonald, or even Madonna. It'll calm them down or get them kicking.
Babies know their mother's voices and like them even if they can't sing.
A group of people getting together, that's just the feeling, the relaxation, the thing, the vibrations, just the bonding between the mothers and the babies.
Okay, do you want to sing Frère Jacques?
The pioneer of singing to unborn babies is world-famous Dr. Michel Audin. In the 80s, he brought us underwater births. And now, in the 90s, it's Sing Baby Sing. He believes it starts the bonding between parent and child and helps them both relax.
We have many reasons now to believe that the baby can hear the mother's voice, and for the baby in the womb, when the mother is just talking, it's not the same as when the mother is singing. It's not the same kind of stimulation.
But say if the mother, or indeed the father, has a terrible voice.
Yes, I think for a baby, the mother's voice is always sweet.
Dr. Audin's biggest converts are Marcella and Peter Heskett. They organise the sessions to teach parents how to sing to their babies-to-be.
The birth process is very much a female event, and so men want to get in on the act, and so the doctors will be there sort of with their machinery and all the rest of it. And I guess this is my little bit for sort of getting in on the act. When we're singing, I make sure I'm standing not far from Marcella, because I do want this thing to know me.
Through your song?
Yeah.
But every music lover has their favourites, so here first and exclusive, we present the 6 o'clock Live Top of the Tops. And at number 3, it's that French standard, Frère Jacques. Still at 2, you can't shift it, My Bonnie Lies Over the Ocean. And still at the top, Old MacDonald, He Has a Farm.
Well, this evening we were singing Old MacDonald Had a Farm, and it did recognise that one for definite.
How do you know?
It was sort of kicking about a bit.
It would be lovely if the baby does enjoy it. Presumably, once it's born, it will react to the same songs and possibly calm down.
Well, I've never been one to let the side down, and even though I realise this is actually an exercise in parent-unborn child bonding, I really don't think the voice of Baker can do any harm to you, so, Maestro? Speed, Bonnie Boot. Like a bird on the wing, onward the sailors cry. Getting anything to tell now? Carry the lad who's born to be king over the sea to sky. When's yours due? September. September? Only know one verse. Loud. Believe me, fella, that's one verse too many. Hey, what if he's my dad?
The best part of all of that is those people pay to learn how to sing.
On the other hand, I once worked for a long-running television programme and we changed the signature tune and the world fell in upon us because parents wrote and said, you can't do that. It's upset the baby goes to sleep, the dog barks
So it
at
works.
it. Absolutely astonishing. Well, our thanks there to the makers of Look Who's Talking Too. Do you recognise the baby? By the way, that's out on video in September. Now, talking of film releases, Jan Rowland has a guide to the best of the movies on release this summer in this week's In and On.
Unfortunately, this is the last In and On before I go on my haul, so I must just tell you which films not to miss this summer, starting with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, better than the first one, Terminator 2, starring good old Arnold Schwarzenegger, and last but not least, this week's film choice, Thelma and Louise, directed by Ridley Scott of Alien fame. It stars Susan Sarandon and Gina Davis as two best friends off for a wild weekend. Without giving too much of the plot away, I can tell you the weekend turns out wilder and more shocking than either of them ever expected. Here's a taster.
Thelma, I'm not going to talk about this. Now, you either find another way or give me the hand map and I will. You understand? No, please, I don't. Now, how come you never told me what happened to you there? You shoot up a guy's head with his pants down. Believe me, Texas is not the place you want to get caught.
Yes, it's one of those films where you don't only cry with laughter. Now it's competition time. The film that rocked the Cannes Film Festival and has now shot to America. They are fighting at the box offices to get into In Bed with Madonna. The charity premiere is on Wednesday night at the Odeon Marble Arch, and we're giving away 2 pairs of tickets for the event. Sorry kids, adults only. The question is, what's the name of Madonna's ex-husband? Send your answers with your name and daytime telephone number to Madonna, 6 o'clock live, PO Box 50, London SE1 9LQ. Answers by first post Tuesday. In Bed with Madonna is a compelling and revealing film which follows Madonna on her Blonde Ambition tour last year. The big guns are out at Earl's Court this weekend as it's the Royal Tournament. As always, it's spectacular, and this year features a reenactment of the American Civil War with real Americans taking part. They must be gluttons for punishment. Phone the ticket hotline on 071 373 8141, office hours Monday to Saturday. From the Royal Tournament to Royal Palace, Hampton Court, on all weekend is their International Flower Show. With marquees full of flowers, trees, plants and shrubs, 31 walk-on landscaped gardens, an aquatic village and much more. 10 a.m. to 7:30 daily. Time now to get your skates on. If you want to get your hands on this week's in item, selling like hotcakes right across the States, they'll soon be winging their way into all good toy stores in London. They're roller runners, for the street cred amongst you. More like ice skates with just one line of wheels running right down the middle. Yours for around £30. Have a good haul.
Thanks, Jan. Well, one of the biggest pop events of the summer takes place tomorrow night at Wembley Stadium. It's called Summer Excess, and 70,000 fans will be coming to the sold-out show.
Well, you guessed it. Summer Excess is with Michael Hutchinson in Excess. Danny is down Wembley Way with Michael and the band this very night.
Frank, Wembley behind me, as you can see, and 1 million roadies are constructing what may be the biggest set in the world. There's lots of people going toot into microphones. That means the big day is approaching me, and the meat of that bill is just over here. Tim Farriss and Michael Hutchins, welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Of course, in the history of this band, you've always played stadiums like this, right?
Yeah, we started out in stadiums, actually.
Oh, yeah?
Worked our way backwards.
You must have played some, as they say, toilets in your time, small
Yeah,
clubs.
no, it's incredible. We're just looking at it from here and thinking that, 6 boys from the suburbs in Sydney ended up here, It's great. We've done a lot of dives. This may be one of them, we're not sure yet.
And when you see this, I mean, does your throat go dry? Do you think, oh, God, tomorrow,
I like to say yes, but no, I'm jaded.
Just another 70,000 stadium.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, you don't get nervous at all, huh?
No, actually, I don't. We've just been doing a lot of festivals of pretty similar size audiences. I mean, this is a special gig, though. It has its own aura, I suppose. And,
yeah. But, Mark, you're not one of them bands who walks out and goes, hello, Berlin, when you're in Edinburgh, are you?
We've been close.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Why do you tour so much? I mean, In Excess seem to be forever on the road. I know rock bands like to tour, but does it get too much?
Yeah, sometimes, no, I don't know. Why do we tour so much? I guess we really just worked off a live thing for a long time. people weren't necessarily playing us on the radio, so we just toured around a lot, you know.
Then there's the money, of course, I take it.
No, I mean, basically the reason we toured so much, I think, was because coming from Australia, it seems like a very big world, and to us, you know, we got famous in Australia and America predominantly from playing live. And little to do with sort of...
Stadiums like this aren't done in Australia, is that right?
No, there's not very many stadiums at all like this. They have anti-pollution laws.
Thank God for London, huh? Michael, you've been to see a specialist, yeah? Should people be worried about this? What's the deal with the throat?
That specialist.
That specialist, yeah. Who told you that?
Just a little bit of gossip on the grapevine.
Yeah. No, it'll be okay.
It's just an occupational hazard of the throat.
Yeah.
No problems.
Yeah, I hope so.
Unfortunately, though, I won't be singing because I have a sore throat.
He has a permanent disability.
I hope everyone still comes.
You see, you've made 2 remarks about that now, Julius. Do you feel overshadowed by this bloke?
No, not at all.
Come on, do you feel overshadowed by it? I mean,
where is that shadow?
Yeah, I mean, do you at all? I mean, you know.
No, not at all. I mean, why would I? Just because he's on the front cover of every magazine and newspaper, and I mean.
Well, you got to sing. Give us a plug to sing. What's it called?
Bit of Tears.
I'm not quite sure. And look out for it. It's Michael Hutchins and his In Excess band. No, it's not. It's In Excess, and here's the video.
When the love around begins to suffer, and you can't find love in one another, push away those bitter tears.
Well, a bit of a scoop there. Worries about Michael Hutchinson's voice. He says he's been to see a specialist. Well, let's hope it won't affect him singing tomorrow night. Well, the other big event of this weekend for sports fans takes place this evening at Crystal Palace. The Parcel Force Games has smashed all box office records for British athletics with a sellout crowd of 16,500, very eager indeed to watch the likes of John Regis, Linford Christie and Roger Black take on foreign rivals in a curtain raiser to the World Championships in Tokyo next month. Well, reporting for us live now from Crystal Palace is Jim Rosenthal. Jim, I know it's a very good meet, but the attendance is staggering, isn't it?
Yes, it is indeed. It's don't be fooled, Frank, by 1 or 2 empty spaces behind me. It's a total sellout here at Crystal Palace. 17,000 people are going to be crammed in here very shortly, and I think the empty spaces are because they're all stuck in the traffic jam.
What are the highlights going to be?
I think there are going to be lots of highlights here tonight. I'm particularly looking forward to the men's 400 metres, Roger Black going against Michael Johnson. I'm also looking forward to seeing this fella in action here, Frank, to Chris Akabusi in the man-killer event, the 400 hurdles. But the winds, Chris, people talk about records and world records. The wind here might just keep the standard of performances down.
Yeah, certainly. I think, you know, if you're talking about world records, they may not be in abundance. But I think the calibre of a competition, as you said, is going to be superb. It's second to none in the whole year of international athletics so far.
And Chris, you've got a great rapport with the British crowd. You must get a special buzz at a meeting like this.
That's right. I mean, like you say, there's a small crowd here at the moment, and yet they're still making a lot of noise. And to give it half an hour when the stadium's full, it's going to be electric. I'm really looking forward to it.
How much does that do for you as an athlete when you're actually out there competing?
Well, obviously, first of all, you realise that they're all there watching you as British athletes, and so there's a lot of expectancy on your shoulders, so it's a little bit frightening. But having said that, once the gun goes and you hear the roar as you come around the bend into the home straight, it's fantastic. It's like a drug enhancement, basically, because, you know, they're there, they're pushing you on, and, you know, it's fantastic.
Good. Chris Akabusi, we look forward to seeing you in action. Frank, there's so much going on here. There's an Olympic champion or a European champion around every corner, it seems, and an inclination of how popular things are here. The ticket touts have got a smashing at Wimbledon. There are a few of them outside now here at Crystal Palace.
Jim, thank you very much indeed. Have a very good night. And by the way, coverage of the athletics starts on ITV in a short while at 8 o'clock. Well, that's it for another week. Next week on 6 o'clock Live, it's our 100th edition.
So we'll be looking back at some of the people that we've met and the stories we've covered over the last 2 years and bringing you bang up to date with how they've all got on.
Plus, we've 2 exclusive interviews with longtime friends of 6 o'clock Live. Paul Gascoigne will be talking for the first time on television since his dramatic exit from the FA Cup final.
And Jason Donovan will be telling us what it feels like to be a #1 in the charts at the same time as starring in a smash hit West End show.
So make a date, and we'll leave you tonight with some more shots taken from the Fuji airship. Last week we were over Croydon, as correctly identified by Rosemary Nichol from Red Hill, Surrey, and others.
The prize for Rosemary and her family is a trip in the good ship this very weekend. Now, if you can identify the place we're flying over this week, you win a camera. The address will appear at the bottom of the screen.
So, very good luck to you, and we'll see you next Friday. Do join us then. Whatever you're doing this weekend, have a really great one, won't you? Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Yeah.
sir.
Thank you, everybody.
Ken, I have an envelope with that.
Yes.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Ken.
Thanks, Sam.
What are you doing in the blind,
Hey? I've got to take this stuff down here. Peter, I've got to take these down, haven't I?
No, I don't think we do, but we could do if you want to. Somebody said the stagehands do it. Are they aware they're doing it? Are you doing the so you just want that stuff over here? All that stuff? Yeah. We'll lift it down and put it here. Here, Dennis, we'll just, we'll stick it here.
Actually, stick it over there.
Yeah, just next to it.
This is the funny thing to do. Did you get that? Very easily feel.
No, stick it there.
Okay.
I think I'll have to. Last time.
I'm into Mr. Dad, do you see, don't see that window, do you? Anything like a drink? Take it down. Do you want it down or not?
Yes, take it down.
I'm just getting having a bit of fun, aren't
Let's only take a second.
That's where the tape is. I thought I'd seen it somewhere.
It's just the body.
Anyway, lovely work.
Steve, goes on to
Lovely.
or leave them up there.
I don't think you ever see that window, but...
Okie dokie. Thank you, Peter.
Right, down the old station.
Yes.
Out.
You went to night school for that?
Yeah, that's what I went to school for.
Right. See you later, Pete. Is that it? Yeah, that's it, isn't it?
Oh, very well, thank you. You do? I've been 18 months here. I still can't take my eyes off it. That's, you know, the latest one, the biggest.
I don't even necessarily think we should get that.
The church over there is the church that inspired the wedding cake. See the, yeah. That's either smart or not smart. You know, you can see where you are.
Yes, oh yes.
There is centre point. So you're working your way through Covent Garden every week. And then